Ladies and gentlemen, nerds and geeks, and to my dreamer family, welcome back to the channel. My name is Astro, and this is episode 3. Make sure that if you find value out of today's episode or enjoy it, it'll go a long way into helping build the channel and the community as a whole. If you drop a like and a sub, this will push it out to the communities and bring everybody in and make the family even bigger. And if you dislike, that's just fine. Dislike and let me know in the comments what it is that I could be doing better to bring you guys more value throughout each episode. And make sure that you guys are subscribed, just like I said, just so you can stay up to date with the latest content that I come out with. And that being said, let's do this. Last we left off, past Thor was lying practically almost dead in the snow after his sky battle with Gore the God Butcher, and present Thor was flying through space, making his way to Omnipotence City. I always have a hard time saying omnipotence. This is just a weird word. And he was heading off to Omnipotence City in search for answers. And future King Thor was in the middle of battling the berserker forces of Gore on the steps on the very steps of Asgard. And so now picking up in Omnipotence City, this is a city that was built by the Elder Gods. From the rubble of creation, it was built as a nexus for every single immortal being in existence. And it's a place where they're married, tried, where worlds are battered and born. And it's the home of the High Holy Court. And this is a sight no mortal eyes have or will ever see, as they say in the story. And here is where Thor meets Lord Librarian. And together in the halls of the All-Knowing, he was just a boy the last time that he was there. And now he's back again seeking answers, and the librarian tells him in excitement that they have no halls of blunt instruments and no halls of thunder either, but that they do have halls of war with several mentions of Thor's father. Thor just tells him that he seeks the names of gods that have been suddenly disappeared over the years, and to which the librarian welcomes Thor to the halls of the lost. This is the halls of the lost? Thor says in awe. Inactive surely, but no one knows if they've actually gone missing, the librarian tells him, also stating that it's natural of the gods to just come and go as they please, and that no one from any faction really cares. And even one day Thor will be forgotten as much as all the rest of these gods have been. And he hopes, at least. And so Thor tells him that they were murdered, and not just simply that they faded away. And the librarian tells him that if it's murder he's looking for, that there's an entire wing devoted to just his family alone. And I thought that was insane. I was like, sheesh, his family's out here just murdering, like, goddamn. And Thor just says that he's got to warn all the pantheons as he reads and tells himself that all of these gods really were murdered, and there's only one way to truly find out, and that's just to read through all the books. As he reads, we find out that the Oaken King and Sequoia Queen from the Garden Eternal, the gods of cosmic seasons, lords of a forested heaven, were all lost for 2,000 years, and no one even noticed. He says that they've all been nailed to a tree, and this is how Thor finally found those gods. And not only that, but also the berserker forces of Gore the God Butcher started to attack him as soon as he found the gods. He continues to read as he lists off more gods. The war fairies of Wendigorge, the 9 guardians of the Horn World. They lived in a palace with caramelized walls. The skies would rain milk, and the trees oozed honey. Yeah, that place sounds pretty good to me. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds pretty good. These gods were last seen 1,200 years ago. Nothing but gore, black flies, and maggots are what's left, and only maggots fall from the sky now, as opposed to the once flowing milk from the skies. The coral immortals of Cataract, the walkers of the outer void, and the last of the lava colossi. Lord Bloodeye, the Badoon god of beheadings, Zerkiri, the scroll goddess of love, Yug Slugoth, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Yug Slugoth, the unseeable, Baron of the Elder Hell. Those gods were all missing for 500 years, god after god, dead and rotting. Some were alone, and some were in piles so big that Thor could literally see them from space. Each book leading to more and more and more carnage, and more of Gore's attack dogs. There was no spree pattern to his killings. He was just killing, crisscrossing for 2,000 years with no pattern, just going as he pleased everywhere he could find gods and just killing them. And no one in the universe has even noticed or cared enough to really realize the scale of what's going on. Thor then comes across an old friend, the god Falagar the Behemoth, a patron god of the galactic frontier, and he was also the champion of the immortals for 5 centuries straight. And it's said that he's wrestled black holes just for fun. So this guy is insane, and he's nothing to play with. And he was last seen by Thor about 100 years ago, waving across the spaceways to each other as they passed by. And Thor says that he's been dead for at least 5 years, as he was told by the mourners who were praying for his resurrection. Thor says to himself that it's all his fault that the gods died of his foolishness. As a berserker climbs up the wall, he impales the berserker, screaming, "No more! Yes, keep coming, you mindless beasts!" he yells as he fends off from their attacks, hoping to send a message to Gorr that Thor hopes he feels the bashings and beatings he's doing to his forces, and that he hopes that deep down in his bones that his end is near. Thor yells, wondering how many more must be dismembered before Gorr's face finally is shown. Daring Gorr to come kill him, he just yells to Gorr from the top of the mountain, now pulling down bolts of lightning and screaming until his throat is raw. He just yells "God Butcher" to the skies, and that he will not and cannot stop until his hands are wrapped around Gorr's throat and he can see the regret in his eyes for having left him alive. Young Thor, now waking up in a panic, asking where the God Butcher is and if he had killed him. One of the village men apologizes, saying that they only found Thor lying in the snow not far from where they had killed the Slavs from earlier. And they were telling Thor that anyone but the God Butcher, or the God of Thunder, would have died from those kinds of wounds that he had to endure. And he finds out that he had been asleep for 7 days, and all he does is get up, grabs his axe, and sets off to find Gorr. Man just wastes no time. He just wants nothing but war and blood and fight. And hours later, Thor wanders through the forest as he stumbles upon a dismembered god. Hinkin, the Siberian god of the hunt, he tells Thor, as he also tells him that Gorr awaits him in a cave along the lake, and all he has to do is follow the screams. Thor tells the god that there is no honor in how the God Butcher fights, and that he will not grant him honor in his death, and that he has his word on that. But before the god falls quietly, Thor tells him to be at peace, and that the hunt for him has now ended. Now in the present day, we see Thor and Iron Man now flying over the shores of Lake Ladoga in Russia. Iron Man tells Thor that with his triangulations, they should come across something soon, and he hopes it's not another Viking strip club, because he had burned one of his suits the last time they came. He had come across one of those. And as Thor states that it's starting to look familiar, the two land at the entrance of the cave, with Thor telling Iron Man that he must go on alone from here. When has that ever stopped me before? And this is freaking me out. I've never seen you so unnerved. What happened in this cave? Are you sure you don't need the Avengers? He tells Thor. As Tony prepares to fly off, Thor tells him that if he hadn't been so prideful and been so silent, that the gods may not have been dying all this time, and that Tony is as much of a god as any immortal he's ever known, and that he could truly use his help. He tells Tony what he knows and sends him across the cosmos to Olympus to begin warning the gods there of the imminent danger. And with no clues to be found, Thor has no idea where he should start next. His father always reminded him that he was a young god, but compared to his mortal friends, Thor feels he's just lived for a long time. And obviously he has. He's very, very old. Thousands of years worth of memories, and even for the mind of a god, there isn't enough room for everything, and so they just evaporate over time. He's forgotten the face of the first maiden he's kissed. He forgot the first troll he's killed. He forgot the first dragon he tamed, and even the sight of his father smiling. Of all the things he could ever forget, this cave is something that he just feels deep down inside that he will never forget it. This cave is where he was first taught true fear by the God Butcher. Now whispering through the summoning stone to the all-mother Queen Freya, he tells her that Asgard is in danger and everybody in it. She doesn't understand what he's talking about and starts to think that his brother Loki is involved, and we all know hell breaks loose if Loki's involved. But he tells her that they need to get everyone indoors with the gates locked behind them, because every single immortal being is under threat there on Asgard. And then he hears something that distracts him from behind, and all he does is yell and go in for the attack. Now, back with past Thor standing outside of the cave, he just yells at the God Butcher to come out and finish what it was that they had started. "You came alone. I knew you would," he says, peeking through the darkness, also stating that their arrogance is what makes them so predictable. And now being pulled in by Gorr's dark tendrils, Thor struggles as Gorr tells Thor he should have fled to the other end of the cosmos, and he was lucky to have survived his attack, even though in the end it wouldn't have mattered, and he would have caught him by the end of time and given him a quick death for everything that he's done. "And you dare call me arrogant?" Thor yells back. Your death won't be quick. It will seem as if it lasts until the end of time, Gorr tells him. Now, picking up with a now overwhelmed King Thor, he screams as he gets impaled by the Black Berserkers, and he tells the forces of Gorr that he will not fall to the Berserkers again. And with the fade into black, we're back with the present Thor catching the being lurking in the dark. He yells at the being, thinking he's Gorr, as he throws him to the ground. And now, terrified, the being tells him he's not Gorr, as he almost gets smashed by Thor's hammer. Thor demands him to tell him who he is, and the being responds saying, I'm hiding from him, just in the last place he'd come to look. He asks Thor if he even remembers this cave, and tells him that because of what Thor did to him all those years ago, that is exactly why the events are taking place of all the gods dying. It's all because of you, Thor. Gods are dying right now because of you. Being overwhelmed by the darkness of Gorr's abilities and being pulled in, Gorr tells Thor that there will be so much more of the screaming he's provided, and that all the gods, down to the very last one, all scream when he's through with them. And this is where we leave off for part 4. What do you guys think of this series so far? I have so much fun making these videos, and it's like it doubles as kind of like a little treat for myself as well, because I really love diving into these stories. And even though like not a lot of people probably watch these videos, it's nice to know that there are some out there who have watched them or who do watch them, and I know that the future with the channel is only going to get brighter from here. And it's so excited to make these, and it just gets all of like the nerd thoughts and stuff I have outside of my head and planning these stories and being able to tell them back to you guys. But if you like today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date with every little video I drop and every piece of content that I come out with. And let me know what you guys enjoyed down below, and if you dislike it, hey, that's okay. Go ahead and hit the dislike button and let me know in the comments what it is that I can do better for you guys in the future. And with that being said, thank you for watching today. I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.